All right, welcome everyone to our meeting today, and happy World Mangrove Day from any place of the world that you're joining us this meeting today. We're very happy to have you all, and we are very happy to celebrate this year's World Mangrove Day to you all. And today we are going to look into how can we make revenue income through mangrove restoration projects, and how can we have restoration projects in the mangrove ecosystems that are donor dependent. And we're going to hear from an amazing speakers from different parts of the world. I'm really, really excited myself to hear from them what they're going to share about us, their experience. And you also have to we also have an opportunity to ask them questions. Please, if you have any question, just put them in the chat box. We will be able to see it, and we will ask our presenters and panelists. At the moment, feel free to tell us where you're joining us from in the chat box. Just an introduction. My name is Alice David. I am the hub leader for Sustainable Ocean Alliance Tanzania, which is a national hub for SOA Global, which is Sustainable Ocean Alliance Global, looking to empower young people all over the world. We are present in more than 80 countries, and we are looking to support young people in their conservation projects. And we even have happy to have CarbonEthics, which is one of the grantee for SOA Global. So without wasting more time, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box. We'll be very happy to know where you're joining us from, and maybe your organization, who are you, what you're doing. It will be very happy to know that. And without wasting further time, I would love to welcome Dr. Giovanni. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name.
No worries.
Yeah, who will present to us about unlocking sustainable financing mechanism for mangrove restoration projects, and giving lessons from Mexico to the global south. Um, Dr. Givianus, please feel free to take from there. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. And can you see the slides, please?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you very much. For me, this is a big honor to be with you. And normally, I have focused more working in with people from my own country and from Latin America, with some collaboration with people of with Europe and North America and Asia. But for me, this is the first time I participated with an African partner. So I am very happy to be with all you. Well, speaking a bit about me, I'm working in different topics about mangroves. Normally, I'm working more focused in topics of ecosystem services. I'm making some general assessment about the ecosystem service, but also I like to work in different projects of environmental education, or like you see, some ecological studies. Well, I will talk a bit about of my organization that I'm working. It's Future Coast. Future is a part of what I can say is one of the networks that is are part of Future Global Research Network. That is a network of networks that is working in different part of the world, and specifically Future Coast is working in some with some key actors like East China Normal University in Shanghai, China. There's a partner in Australia. There's other one in Ghana. Some people in Germany. Another partner in Maryland, United States, and we are part of the Latin American office. But this is connected with United Nations Agency and International Scientific Organization, focused on sustainability and coastal resilience, and promotes integrated collaborative research for the benefit of society and nature. Well, I will talk about of my country, Mexico. This is because, like all the global south countries, we have like good things and bad things. So we can understand that this is the things that we have. So we need to understand our own situation, no? Well, in my country, Mexico is located in North America. It borders with the Caribbean Sea, Atlantic Sea, and North Pacific. We have practically two oceans in contact. Is around 2 million square kilometers. Mexico is an OECD and GP 20 member country, and it's you can imagine it's a strong partner with the United States, China in terms of trade, and also it's a mega diverse country between 10 and 12 of the world species can be found. I'm talking about of the topic of mangroves. We have the fourth place, just behind of Australia, Indonesia, of course, and Brazil. Uh, like any other global south country, not everything is good. We have different challenges to face, for example, poverty, inequality, crime, bureaucracy, and etc. Well, the introduction definition of mangroves depends of the author or the government or the definition that we want. We can say that it's just the coastal forest, no, that is integrated by different species that we can find around the world. And the distribution, we can see that is in the tropical and subtropical areas. Indonesia is the major hotspot of the world. We can find the major number of species in Indonesia, but in the rest of Latin America and of course in Oceania and Africa, we can find these species. The importance, well, I think talk about the importance of ecosystem of the mangrove. We can say just about the ecosystem services that we could define on provision about fisheries and wood in some cases, and on regulation that is more focused on things like blue carbon and this topic of climate change, and another topic that is not very known on said, but also cultural ecosystem service is very important. No? For some people, enjoy to and do some ecotourism activities in this area and other activities. Trips, we can see in this image of WWF that the major driver of mangrove loss is logging, agriculture, aquaculture, pollution, and coastal development. This is different about of the country because maybe in one case that I know is in Ecuador, in South America, is the major driver is aquaculture, and in the case of my local region is coastal development, but depends. But obviously, one of the most important is climate change. I will show you one example about of simulation of what happened in Indonesia some years ago in the case of the tsunami, and it's demonstrated that the presence of mangroves helped in the to save to different touristic infrastructure if we compare with the areas that we don't have the presence of mangroves. So I think this is one of the best examples about in all the world how the mangroves are important and could be considered like a nature-based solution in this topic. Well, I'm sorry, but normally I like to talk with some jokes in my presentation and students, etc. This is an interesting topic to me because, like a researcher, we are more focused to do research, but maybe one of the things that we don't are talking in the university, we are doing a PhD degrees. You have to, if you want to your projects, and you have to get funds. And normally we don't have that kind of education. And this is a situation that we are learning outside of the universities. And in my case, I am a marine biologist, so try to get funding normally. It's not easy because we are learning step by step, but this is something that is definitely necessary to learn. Well, mangrove funding is a global challenge. When I have the opportunity to travel, for example, in my last trip to Canada and in Shanghai, I was expecting, okay, I expect that in Canada or China, they have a lot of fun and it's very easy. And talking with the researcher and the people, they were asking to me if I know some options to get funds. So, and this is not only happening in our countries, but this is a situation for all the world. No, there's a limited availability of dedicated funding for long-term restoration projects. Is a reality. This complex application and reporting requirement that restrict access for many local organizations. So, depending on the level of organization, if your NGO probably have more of 50 people and also have 10 years, could be not very complicated to the reporting requirement. But if we are starting with an NGO, maybe 2, 3 people, the conditions are completely different. Competition for grants is high. Is not something to surprise, while available resources remain limited. And few projects are designed to attract private investment and become financially sustainable. And this is more than one thing that I found in a strictly research or something that I found in one book. This is directly my own experience. I think this will be probably very similar in your case in Tanzania or in other places. Maybe the major opportunity to obtaining funding in this the topic of mangrove restoration could be about of the government through different mechanisms, etc. Another one that is very important to is to try to find some national NGO. For example, we can see in the right side of the slide is a new opportunity to get fundings for the area that I'm working. This is the Gulf of California, the north of Mexico. Some fund from universities, not too big, but there's some opportunities to working. The private sector engagement is another big opportunity, but depends of the policies of the enterprise of the we are working. Maybe with a local hotel that is close to a mangrove, there could be an opportunity, or also with maybe a big enterprise firm that is working in the area. No? Finally, and this is normally the major part of the funding that I'm getting normally, is in-kind contribution. For example, I have the opportunity to, hey, doctor, I don't have an opportunity to help you, but I could help you working in the process of restoration. That is more about volunteer work and technical expertise, people from some local communities. They help us, inclusive with things with water or food. It could be good with equipment. So I mean, we can obtain some donations, and the most important thing is the local knowledge. No, the local knowledge of the people, in the place where we are working. So this is very, very important to obtain success in the process of mangrove restoration. to me this is new, but I recommend you very much that you can, if you can check it after the presentation, you have opportunities. The Mangrove Breakthrough Financial Roadmap. This is practically, in my opinion, the biggest opportunity to get fundings about of mangrove restoration in an international way. This mobilized, according to their own data, $4 billion of dollars. For this is the objective to work in public and private philanthropic investment to scale mangrove protection and restoration, to expand innovative financial mechanisms, including blue carbon. Blue carbon is another long topic to talk, but there's all opportunity to get fundings in the case of they are working with some general ecosystem services studies. Normally, there are not much money to study to all the different ecosystem services. Mainly are focused on blue carbon, so it's a good opportunity to get in funds if you are working with this topic, with the blue carbon. And then finance a natural positive business model to generate long-term value. Reduce investment barriers by developing investment-ready projects and lowering financial risk for investors. Strengthen collaboration among government and financial institutions. This is very important. Then, if you have the opportunity to start to work with Global Mangrove Alliance, then because it's not only because you will get international identification, but also they could help you to give some different ways to get funds. Okay, next. And another opportunity, and we are working right now, that I am part of Future Coast. We are working with in an international project named Cross Continental Roots, mangrove collaboration from China and Australia to Latin America and Africa. We have some partners in Ecuador and Mexico. We are talking with people of Ghana, but I will be very happy to have some partners in Tanzania. In this moment, we are starting to get funds, but the opportunity is because this is part of the global network, probably, and we could have more chance to get funds for the different projects. And another big partner that I recommend you to contact is with the people of Mangrove Action Project. This is probably one of the most important NGOs in the topic of mangrove from the world. They visited us in March of this year, and we have a presentation with them. And they say us that probably Mangrove Action Project won't give you funds, but we help you to try to find the opportunity of funding. So I think this is very important to define it, no? Because it's people with more experience and so on. And obviously, it's not the same that say that we are working alone with one project than that have the opportunity to be partners or have the support of Mangrove Action Project or other institution. No? Like I say, finally, increase project visibility and credibility that this could be make a difference between to be selected or not in projects and improving opportunities to secure future fundings. I will give you my email and some of my networks, ResearchGate and Twitter, and I have to say thank you. And if you have questions, please tell me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. That was a very nice presentation, and thank you so much for giving us all those insights. I'm sure most of us looking on how we could create financial pipelines for mangrove, and it's really inspiring to see some of already mechanisms on place in trying to unlock financial pipelines for mangrove ecosystems and conservation. We will have a question and answer session for all our speakers. So if you have a question for Doctor, we'll have that time. And please don't forget it. You can also feel free to chat it, to put it in the chat box. We will definitely see it. At this moment now, I would love to pass the mic to our lovely panelists. We have Bimo in the room already. I don't see Nicholas. Nicholas, if you're in the room, please let us know. But I will pass the mic to Divan to take us through the panel sessions with our speakers. Yeah, Divan, if you can take the lead. You're muted.
Okay, I just want to say that I've shared in chat the one link that you can see this Mangrove Breakthrough Financial Roadmap. I think it will be very useful okay, I will reading the chat book. Oh, very honored to have people from different part of the world. I was this.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much for that. And please stay with us. Exactly after this panel, we'll have some question and answer session. I'm sure most of the people inside here have some few questions for you and Bimo also. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So hi everyone. Thank you, Alas, for bringing me in, and I'm happy to see people joining from different places. Just as you said, it's quite amazing seeing people from India, seeing somebody back from India, Gambia. So yeah, I'm happy to have experts on mangroves restoration in this webinar. And as just already said with the other speakers, we are diving deep to see how the global attention is shifting from mangrove projects that are fund dependent to mangrove projects that are financially sustainable, and they are integrating investment ready models in the implementation. And I think it's already the context of our webinars already brought on the table, right, Alex? So I think I should go on with the panelists, right?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, going to our panel today, we are having two panelists. We are having Mr. Nicholas and Mr. Bimo for our panel, and we're going to have about 6 questions, 2 questions for the both of them, and 1 for Mr. Nicholas, while 2 for Mr. Bimo. And yeah, so I will start with the first question to the both panelists, Mr. Nicholas and Mr. Bimo. The question says, mangrove restoration is gaining global attention, yes, but yet many promising projects, are we together?
Yeah, sorry, I was just saying that I don't see Nicholas. Maybe I'm trying to contact him, but we have Bimo already in the call.
So I can go on?
Yeah, you can go on. You can go on.
Thank you. So yes, I was posting a question to both panelists. And I was saying mangrove restoration is gaining global attention, yet many promising projects still struggle to move beyond grant funding. So in your views, our dear panelists, in your views, what are the key ingredients that transform a restoration initiative into an investable and bankable project? So I will start with Mr. Nicholas, then Mr. Bimo will come in. Welcome.
Nicholas has not joined, so please go ahead with Bimo.
I saw it, Bimo. All right,
Yeah.
so only Bimo will come in.
Yes,
all right, so hopefully I'm not the single one here. Hi, Divan.
Hello.
And yeah, thanks for the question. Hi, everyone. I think it's an honor to meet everyone virtually from around the world. My name is Bimo. I'm from CarbonEthics, and we are a project developer starting 7 years back and focusing on mangrove and peatland ecosystem. And really happy to share things. And thanks for Sustainable Ocean Alliance that always supporting CarbonEthics Foundation to funding us and to create a proof point so that we can scale. And yeah, I think for the first question, Thanks, Dr. Giovanni. I think I kind of relates to your presentations. You mentioned as well about Indonesia, right? So I'm based in Jakarta, Indonesia, and yes, when I reflect back in my home country, we do have abundance of mangrove cover at around 3.4 million hectares. So that's large, right? But
Yeah.
somehow abundance has always been a trap. So we get captivated by the potential, and it's very hard to convert those potential into a sustainable project. And when I say sustainable, I mean a project that can sustain itself for the long term. It's not only the project that can survive only as long as supported by the funding. And for me, a project can sustain itself is the project that have a strong economic model. So the one that can score profitability. So two keywords for me, two key ingredients is the first one is economic model, and the second one is profitability. And this is what transformed a grant dependent conservation initiative into something that's investable and also bankable. And when we say investable and also bankable, these aren't a fixed terms. There's always been a dependence on the depending on the fund mandate. So for example, usually when CarbonEthics met commercial investors or perhaps carbon buyers, it's always been around what's the return profile that the fund is looking for? What's the IRR of the project? What's the NPV? What's the payback period? Do you have a blended finance structure? Something like that. So what we understand is that every fund has its own mandate, and our project needs to speak in that language. But there's many ways, right, to improve our project's commercial profile to fit a fund's mandates. But just as important is, and maybe more important, is that how to find the right investor whose mandate is actually fit into the projects. Because those who fit in right can allows us to give a fair benefits sharing as well to the community, and not to squeeze the project's benefits to be able to satisfy the return. Meanwhile, we neglect the community, which this is not the aim of the conservation project in the first place. We need to have a fair benefits to the community, and I think that's my comments.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bimo. Actually, the participants, we can use the chat box from your view and what you have heard from Mr. Bimo. You can tell me as well on the chat box, like, what have you learned? What are the two ingredients from your aid that you have heard from Mr. Bimo that are very good and crucial for making the mangrove project investable and bankable? So you'll use the chat box and tell me the two ingredients you have taken from Mr. Bimo. And for the second question, since Mr. Nicholas isn't available, Mr. Bimo, I hope you are still around and your mic is unmuted. I'll ask you, okay, I'll ask you another question. If CarbonEthics has successfully connected ecosystem restoration with climate finances and private sector investment, so from your experience, what has been the most important factor in building trust and confidence among investors? And how do you balance investor expectations with delivering meaningful benefits for local communities and ecosystems?
Okay, so there's 2 points, building trust and also balancing investors' expectations with the community benefit, right, Divan? Right. So I think first comment on the building trust. CarbonEthics believe that trust is so important, and trust is not only built by stories alone, it needs to be built by high quality executions. So for example, in mangrove restoration specifically, most of the times we're being asked by funders or investors very technical questions. So for example, what's your survival rate? Are you planting monoculture or diverse species? Are you using endemic species or introducing new ones that potentially can harm the endemic species? Has the fauna actually comes back after you do the restorations? And those are the executions details that really have proof points that build the credibility and also trust to the funders and also investors. And on top of that, what we felt is also as important is the FBIC. the free, prior, and informed consent. And we believe that this is not a one-time checkbox. This is a continuous process, right? It's the foundation of community engagement, and what investors want to see is the mechanics behind it. So, for example, most of the times they ask about, okay, what's the grievance mechanisms look like? What's the benefit sharing mechanism? And to be really honest, when we're working directly with the community, I think one of the most exciting is how to communicate financial benefit to the community. And I think that's really satisfying for me personally. And and also depending on the type of capital or investor, of course, the mandate is changes, right? So, for example, we have non-commercial fund, for example, like receiving from grant, receiving from payment ecosystem services, or as simple as, for example, in CSR, for example. So, what do they expect? Usually, they expect for social return of investment, right? And it's validated by third party, for example. But when we're dealing with, for example, equity investors or perhaps the offtake agreement of carbon credits, they might like your pitch deck at the very beginning. They might deep dive into your economic model projection for 10 years. What's your mangrove projects looks like? What's your revenue model? Is it only from carbon credit, or is it diversified revenues coming from other business, for example? It's not stopping on that, but there will be a holistic due diligence, for example, like legal due diligence. So what sort of the legal structure that you want to build so that the community can be invested by the investor, but the legal structure is safe for the investor to put money there. And also financial due diligence, for example. So if your organization is actually ongoing the financial audit every year, I think it shouldn't be a problem. And I think the number two is about how to balance the investor expectations with community benefits, right? For example, in my home country, Indonesia, there's a regulations that requires a minimum 50% of the community benefit needs to goes to the community, right? And the rest 50% is to the investors. So 50%, when we communicate this to the investor, the initial reaction is, wow, 50% is big, right? First of all, why it's big? It's because the community isn't investing any capital. And the second is that they isn't bearing any financial risk if the project goes wrong. But they receive 50% since the beginning. So this is the tough conversations that we always have with the investor. But what CarbonEthics is doing is that it's not only convincing the investor on this model, but also to build how to make win-win benefit sharing between community and as well as the investor. So they're not in competitions of benefit sharing, but they can actually strengthen each other. And one of the key things that it really makes sense for them is because nature-based solutions and when we're talking about carbon project, it's 40 years project lifetime. You cannot sustain a project if you don't get the support from the community that's live in the area. And that is sustainability. That's a license to operate. And more than that, in social forestry model, for example, the community isn't just a beneficiary in this structure, but they also an actor, they also an equal partner in the coalition. I think that's my comment, Divani.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bimo. I'm so interested with the answer on the ways that we use to attract the investors. You included species. You also said clear mechanism on financing benefits. And I'm so much interested with the clear mechanism on finance benefits. And you said a lot of examples. I believe highlighting this, it's also something that we can take away from today's webinar. Among many things we're taking away, having a clear mechanism for financial benefits on how our communities are going to benefit for us to attract investors. And yes, so to the next question, Mr. Bimo. This will be second last, and we'll have one more last question. I hope it's okay, and we are still on time.
Yes, I'm ready, Divan.
Yes, so for our second question is carbon finance is often discussed as a major opportunity for mangrove restoration. Based on your experience, what practical steps can organizations take today to position themselves for future carbon or other nature-based finance opportunities, even if they are still at an early stage?
Yeah. Thanks, Defan, for the question. I think I'm going to approach these questions by maybe sharing a story of how CarbonEthics is built. So 7 years ago, CarbonEthics, we formed a foundation. So CarbonEthics Foundation was started 7 years back. And 3 years ago, we make a company. Yeah, and this is the company specifically for the scale up and project development of carbon project in mangrove and also peatland ecosystem. And from there, the company received a seed round of 2.5 million US dollar for scaling the mangrove and peatland projects. And this year, one of our projects is actually proceeding to closing a $5 million investment. So what I meant by this is the trajectory is real, but we didn't start it big. We started small. So in early years, we pilot 1, 2, 3 hectares, and later on scaling to 20 hectares with consistent quality of executions. And we believe that the consistency is what builds trust, 1 hectare at a time. And on financing, this is something that we deliberately diversified. So, for example, in the early years, of course, for example, Sustainable Ocean Alliance support us with the research, with the making of proof points. We accept the CSR funding, we accept the payment ecosystem services. But slowly but sure, it's moving towards a commercial model. For example, we do pilots, we get the funding to pilot the shrimp and prep of silver fishery in mangrove. And now we're working on the equity investment and also purchase carbon credits. And today from pilot 1, 2, 3 hectares, and now we're expanding to 150,000 hectares, focusing on mangrove and peatland ecosystem throughout Indonesia. So I think my practical advice will be, we need to start small, but need to dream big and ask ourselves how this project is actually can scale in 10 years, and not only about scaling in hectares, but also scaling in profitability.
Thank you. If I'm to summarize what you just said, is starting small but having consistency as well. Am I right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So I believe for all the participants who are planning to run community-based projects based on conserving and protecting the mangroves, we are not to worry. We are to start from what we have, and we can maintain the consistency from 1 hectare to more hectares of land. And yes, ensure that the efforts we are putting into protecting these lands are consistent. So as even when investors come and see our gradual development, they can also see how gradually we improve, and they can also see how we can be in the 5 years to come from now by seeing where we came from. So having consistency is very important for our project, and starting from what we have, it's also very important. But also from my end, what I can say, ensure documentation. Keep documentation of what you're doing. As you start, keep the documents, take pictures of where you came from and where you're going. This will help us, we help the investors to get more attracted and build trust on our projects. So last question, Mr. Bimo, and thank you so much for the previous questions. This is last for closing our panel. I would like to ask if you are to share a piece of advice, if a young organization in Africa approached you with a strong mangrove restoration project but no access to major funding. If a young organization in Africa approached you, Mr. Bimo, with a strong mangrove restoration project but has no access to major funding, what is the first thing you would advise them to do the next 12 months to become more investable?
Right. I think for the next 12 months, focus on building execution excellence, make case practices that you can showcase, learn about the multiple revenue streams coming from mangrove, for example, carbon market, and also mangrove-based product value chain just as deeply. And of course, when you're starting in a early stage, it's very important to be focused, right? For example, you expert in executions of mangrove, but then doesn't really know how to make a commercial model and get the financing. My advice is find a partner, not just a funding, because at early
Okay.
stage, what you need is beyond the money. You need technical assistance. You need commercial capacity building. Funding
Okay.
without proper guidance at an early stage can be depleted super quickly and become so much so efficient, so inefficient. I'm sorry. So look for an investor or a co-developer who bring value beyond capital, capacity, network, access to buyers, and get the foundations right first. And from there, you can run. That's my piece of advice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bimo. I think I've learned a lot from the last question as well. It was a good response from my end. And I'd like to take back the microphone to Mr. Ailas. Thank you, Mr. Bimo, and I hope the participants are satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. That was so much inspiring. I was actually getting emotional hearing from Bimo, all the comments and everything. It was very nice. I can feel the experience. I can feel the journey, and it's an amazing thing. Just before you draw, we take you out for the panel. Bimo, we have you had shared with us a certain document. Do you want at least to say something about it? I can present it if you want to see. Let me share it. There was this material shared. Yeah. If you have something about it before I take you out of the panel, I just wanted to make sure the
Actually,
material
yeah,
presented.
actually, this slides is meant to be just a back cover while I'm speaking. So, yeah, this is basically the community that we're working with, right? And I think we're more than happy. I think even after the sessions, if you have any questions that whatever things that we can help, right? I think we're here to support each other so that this mangrove ecosystem can thrive.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure that it was shared, and thank you so much for joining us today. It's amazing. I'm sure people here have some few questions for you, and yeah, we're going to really open that, and I'll bring you back to ask questions, right? So for the people joining us, for all of us in the room currently, please, if you have questions for Bimo and Dr. Please put it in the chat box and we'll be able to see it. At the moment, we just wanted to share one of our mangrove projects that we are currently working on, just as a case study to show how the way that we also like working on finding ways to ensure that we have a financed project in the mangrove ecosystems. I'm trying to get Divan from the pin. 1 minute. Yeah. It's just a very quick case study from SOE Tanzanian site where we have a mangrove project also in Tanzania, which is covering around 8,000 hectares, and we are working with different partners, including Ocean Alliance Global, and also companies like Good Carbon in creating this project. And we are looking to deliver good carbon credits throughout the project through mangrove restorations, community empowerment, and also restoring and protecting mangrove forests. So the project is called Our Mangrove Community, or in Swahili we call it Mikoko Project. And the project currently covers 8,860 hectares of mangroves that have been mapped, and it's looking to empower communities also in different other livelihood sources, including beekeeping, seaweed farming, and cucumber farming as an alternative livelihood sources where communities and young people, because we're also working on youth. Our hub currently has 885 youth within the hub. So it's also looking to empower coastal communities, especially women and also young people who are part of the community, who are the ones driving the project. So the project's looking to restore mangroves in the 8,860 hectares that have been mapped and adapted, and also to empower these people who are leading the projects, the young people in the coastal communities. And the project is currently located in Tanzania. So these are some of the metrics that we currently have. The amount of carbon that the project is looking to sequester, and the project duration is 35 years. At the moment, we are in the feasibility study, in drawing the pilots for the project to get it into certification for the project. So the project is, what makes the project special is on the location. The location where the project is currently in Bagamoyo and Mkuranga, which are one of biodiversity hotspots, according to many different studies that have been shared. And it's one of the ways that we can mitigate climate impact, and also it's community enriched, meaning that community are the center focus of the project. They are the one running the project and actually benefiting from the project. So we are looking to make it the first of its kind, Tanzania first carbon financed mangrove restoration project in Tanzania. And these are our current partners at the moment. We have Good Carbon, who is our project proponents, and two NGOs, which is Ocean Alliance and Women Against Poverty, and the local government authority, the Tanzanian Forest Service Agency, who is landowner for the mangrove area that we are working on. So at the moment, we are in the feasibility study stage, and we're looking for partners and some of the investments to drive this project, which is going to empower coastal communities in Tanzania in mangrove restoration through carbon credits. So I wanted to share this case study as one of the projects that we are currently working on. Not only, but it's a finance model where companies come and invest in the carbon credits. And I'm sure most of the speakers that they have already shared, and I'm sure CarbonEthics is doing much on carbon credits. And I've been really inspired when Bimo was sharing their journey and everything and what they're doing. It's very inspiring. So without wasting much time, we'd love to see if there is any questions from the people we have inside here. We'll put back and pin all of our speakers if they can take one or two before we close up, because I see we still have some few minutes. Just looking for another speaker. So if we have any question from the speakers, for the speakers who have been with us today, please, this is your time. Feel free, if you want to speak, just you can raise your hand and I'll be able to see it and welcome you to ask directly to our speakers. And if not, you can also put it in the chat and we'll be able to ask our speakers directly. Giovanni, can you help me look if there is any, because I'm trying to pin some. If there's any question. Amazing. I don't see any question in the chat, but if there is no any question from the people who are joining us. We would have to say thank you so much, guys, for joining this call today. It's amazing to see everyone from different parts of the world. And just to speak for Ocean Alliance, we currently have a funding opportunity that SOA is providing, has opened up a micro grant opportunity. So if you're also looking for funding, you can strictly visit SOA Global's website, and the deadline is on the 3rd of August. So we have like few days to go to submit your application for a project funding, which is working on 30 by 30 conservation action projects. So if you have a project around that area, feel free to see SOA Global's website. And if you're also looking to join an ocean community, Ocean Alliance is also open for you. So if we do not have questions from our participants, I would love to say welcome our speakers just one closing remarks before we end the call. I would love to start with Dr. Giovanni. I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name again. Sorry.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here and share my experience. And also thank you very much for all the partners with all the information.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bimo, any final closing remarks?
Yeah, I think thanks for the opportunity, Sustainable Ocean Alliance, and always supporting projects like in CarbonEthics to grow like even until 7 years. I think and my last my last remarks is keep consistency for your projects, I think, and think start small and think big. Yeah, and good luck.
I love that line. Start small and dream big. I love that so much.
Right. Thanks.
Thank you. I see. There's a question from Dr. Mangora saying, if mangrove resection projects are to be bankable, one thing is often technically forgotten: who owns the mangrove resource?
Oh, that's a very, very interesting question, no? And I don't know. I think if you let me, depends a lot of the continent we are. In the case of Mexico, for example, according to our own legislation, the coastal area is part of the country. It's not a private area. So in this case, the mangrove resource is for all the nation, no? Normally, but there are, depending of the definition of coastal area, we can find some mangroves area in private areas. So this is, at least in the case of Mexico, a major part of the mangrove resource, that is a resource, like the definition, is part of the country. So this makes a bit complicated to try to make some different projects, no? Carbon projects. But I don't know, in the case of Indonesia, maybe Bimo could tell us about the experience of who is the owner of mangroves in Indonesia.
Yeah, thanks, Muita, for your question. I think it's important to respond this question depending on the jurisdiction where you're working at. And I think in terms of Indonesia, all of the mangrove is actually owned by the government. However, we need to see like what's the usually the government is granting the license to whom, right? So for example, the license of usage is granted 90 years to private company, or is it to the community or to the village? So in that case, the ones that owns the carbon credit and the resources within the time period should be the community if it's social forestry license, or the private if it is private license. Yeah, I hope that's answered. So this is something that always been asked by investors. So who's on the carbon credit? Who's on this and that? And we answer that if the license is owned stated by the community, and then that they should be the one that owns the carbon credits. Hope that answered. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was speaking while I was on mute. Thank you guys for a nice response. I hope that answers Dr. Mangora's question. And I will definitely share the recording because the whole meeting was recorded. And I hope we're going to also ask Dr. Giovanni and Bimo, so if we could share their contacts, but we also share their websites and social media links where you can also be able to connect with them. And it will be also very, very nice. Yeah, so there is no one size fit all approach. Cool. Thank you, Doctor, for that. Yes. So yeah. You want to say something?
Yeah, I like very much this part of one size fit all inclusive. In my region, you can stay just in one bay, and you can find a spot of mangroves that maybe need some just passive restoration. We need just restoration, just not the typical restoration that we expect, but we can find in 100 meters one place that need a typical ecological restoration. So it's one of my advices. The first one is try to understand very well the legislation, no? The laws that applies to the area that you are working, and also the diagnosis is which kind of restoration we need. And also I like very much the participation of Bimo, because in the topic of mangroves, Indonesia is like go to the best place. I expect one time in my life travel to Indonesia. Of course, I am very happy you invite me to Tanzania, but to me, travel to Indonesia and know the mangroves in Indonesia will be very, very inspiring to the people there. We're working.
Sorry, I think we lost Dr.
It's like in this topic is of any mangrove that we are working.
Yeah, just to add, Dr. Giovanni, yeah, unfortunately, Muita, there's no one size fits all. Even though there's something that we can scale, of course, in other region, but in mangrove itself, for example, even in one country, we do have different island. The technical to restore is super different. Yeah, so yeah, that's the fact when we working with mangroves. Yeah, we need to customize based on the location. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you all. If there is no any further questions from our participants, say thank you once again for joining us. And yeah, we'll send the recordings and also some links from our speakers where you can also follow them and also be able to connect with them even further. And thank you so much. Keep on connecting, and we look forward to continue working with you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bimo. Thank you so much. That's nice having you.
Very much, and congratulations for the work of Sustainable Ocean Alliance. Very nice work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much.